Hi guys, this video is going to go over what you missed in class on Thursday, your 1013 notes on general probability. So on the first page you'll see some definitions and things like that on your notes. After that you'll see your formula page, and this is what you're given on the AP exam. So what you want to be doing is using this first rule anytime you see something about the probability of or and sometimes about the probability of and. Use this for any two events. The next one is a conditional probability. This is read A given B. So that line says given, and whatever you're given goes in the denominator. The numerator is always the and. These two formulas down here we don't use. Instead, we use our calculator and we do one var stats, L1, comma L2. This is talking about the expected value or the mean of a variable. So we have a variable and its probability. Usually it looks something like this, and then all of these probabilities need to add up to 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to work in our DNS book. We're going to start on page 67 to 68. We're going to look at questions 1 and 2. This is a multiple choice question, and this is a free response question, and those will not be covered in this, but you can get the answers in class. So first question we have here is we're talking about music. We're talking about, is it a CD, is it a vinyl record, or is it a cassette, and what type of the music was made. We have our total over here. This is what we call our grand total, and that's what we're always going to use for our denominators. So quickly looking through this, we're going to go fairly fast. So probability, we have a jazz is going to be 1371 out of 3390. So I just looked at our column for jazz right here, and that's where I got that number from. So moving on, probability of jazz and vinyl. When you have a chart like this, it's easy. You're going to look at where they overlap, and so they overlap at 562 out of, again, the grand total. We're using the grand total always. Jazz or vinyl. There's that or. We're going to use the rule. That's going to say the probability of jazz plus the probability of vinyl minus the probability of jazz and vinyl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up 1371 over the 3390 plus the 1347 out of the 3390 minus the probability of both of them, 562. And now you can leave your answer as a fraction or as a decimal. I'm going to leave it as a decimal. Jazz given that it's vinyl. So we're saying the probability of jazz given that it's on vinyl. So using the chart, this makes it very, very easy. Remember what I used to do in class? I used to look at just the vinyl. I'd say, okay, zooming in on just the vinyl, the probability you have jazz is just that 562. So it's going to be that 562 out of, what was that bubble that we were looking at? Just the 1347. So when you have charts like this, you usually don't need to use the rules, which makes it really, really nice. So again, we're still continuing talking about jazz and vinyl. We're asked if they're mutually exclusive. In part C, we're asked if they are independent. These are two rules you must memorize. You are not given these. So mutually exclusive means they can't happen at the same time, which means the probability of having a jazz record and it's on vinyl, does that equal 0? Well, for us, it doesn't. We found out above that does not equal 0, so they are not mutually exclusive. Independent, again, this is a test you need to memorize. It's still dealing with the idea of being jazz and vinyl. But to test for independence, you're checking, can you just multiply the probabilities? Anytime you're talking about an and probability, you can't just multiply them. You can only multiply them if they are independent. So when looking at this, if you were to multiply them, they are not equal. You'd be looking at the 562 out of the 3390. And I'm telling you right now, it does not equal, and you should multiply these out just to make sure that you agree with me. I think they both work out to be about 0.6 something or 0.16 something. So these are not independent either. So these are two rules, again, you must memorize. Okay, moving on to the next question we're going to look at is we're going to look at page 69, number 1. And I do give you a hint, so if you have them, take out your 10-8 notes. Okay, so we're given some information here. Oh, no, we're going on to number 2. We're not moving there yet. We're told the probability you wear deodorant is 80%. The probability you exercise is 40%, and the probability you do at least one of these. That means either you wear deodorant or you exercise. So that's the or, deodorant or exercise. You're told that is 0.84. If a person's chosen at random from this community, what's the probability the person wears deodorant and? If we think about this, we don't know how to figure out and. You can't just multiply, but given these three things that I'm given, I can use that rule that has or, and just plug in what I know. So I'm using the rule on the formula page that you are given, and I'm going to plug in what I know. So I have 0.84 equals 0.8 plus 0.4 minus x. If you solve, you get x equals 0.36. Our x was this probability of deodorant and I just found a little typo here that should say and. If the person's chosen at random from this community, what's the probability that the person neither wears deodorant nor exercises? So they don't wear deodorant nor do they exercise. That's the complement of doing one or the other. It's the complement of exercising or wearing deodorant. So complements add up to 1. So for us, it's going to be 1 minus 0.84, which gives us 0.16. Again, probability is a small unit on the AP, so don't freak out. What's the probability that a person in this community wears deodorant? Probability they wear deodorant given they exercise. So here, since we don't have a chart, we're going to have to use the rule. Exercising goes in the denominator. The numerator is always and. Again, you're given this formula. Don't forget it. So the and we figured out to be 0.36. The or is 0.4. Get a total of 0.9. D, I'm telling you right now, skip it. It's a little bit too hard. E and F are very similar to what we just said. You're looking for, are they mutually exclusive? And are they independent? So those you should go ahead and practice on your own. You should get no here. You should get no here. Okay. Last question that we're going to do together today. We're given some lists. So I'm speeding through this, but you should be reading this. Anytime you have lists, you should be looking at lists. We're talking about the number of vehicles. This is a probability distribution. We only have one variable. So I'm going to do one var stats L1, comma L2. List 1 is going to be my number of vehicles, and I'm going to use that to calculate the mean. When I do this, I get 1.03, and again, that's the X bar on the calc. And this is vehicles. This is the number of vehicles that people have. I'm asked for the standard deviation, that's sigma, and you get 0.921. And then I'm told that some tax, and I told you this is your 10-8 notes, they charge a tax of 320 guilders per house. Guilders you can think of as dollars. They told us that that's their currency, plus 180 for each vehicle. Well, we already know the average number of vehicles, so what they're telling us is the tax is $320 plus 180 per each vehicle. And I'm asked for the new mean and the new standard deviation. So the new mean of this tax, well, means work the way you'd expect them to. So I can do 320 plus 180, but then what am I going to plug in there? I'm going to plug in what my mean is. So when you do this, you should get $505 or guilders and 40 cents. That's your new mean. And then standard deviations you should always be a little bit wary about. Remember, standard deviations are not affected by addition. So what we can do here is not the 320, just the 180, and then the V here that we're going to use is the standard deviation of the number of vehicles. So we got that from part B, and you should get here 165.84. So the other two problems in your DNS book that you can look at for this lesson are in page 76, number 3. And if you do complete that one, the answer to page 76, number 3, will require you to use the some of the rules that were given. And the question on page 97 and 98 is a free response question. Good luck.